150.218.213.215/20. Yes guys, 215/20. Okay. Yes guys, please.
4,500, 200,
4,000.
100, 500. No, only 1,000.
Only 1,000. Okay.
Yeah.
1,000.
1,500, 200.
500. Okay, so let me write it down like this: 1,000, 500, 200, 100, 30, and 20. Okay. So now, what is the network address here? The big net.
150 dot
150 dot
218
218 dot
208.0.
208. Let me check. I don't. 213. Let me check. So 213, you can write it like this: 192 plus 64. Okay, sorry, 192 plus, yes, 13. Okay, so 192, I suppose 13 plus 8, what will be the value? 21. Okay, so you can go with 16, then 4 plus 1, I suppose, if I'm not wrong. Okay, so let me also take calculator here. 192 plus 16 plus 4 plus 1. Okay, 212. Okay, 4 plus 2, I suppose. Nope. Just give me a minute again. Yeah, 212 plus 1, 213. Yes, then I'm right. So you can write 192 plus 16 will be the network address, I hope. Okay, so 150.218. Yes, 208. Right, got it everyone? Okay, so 150.218.208.0/20. Got it? Okay, now the first network will be, any doubts guys? Yes or no? Okay, 150.218. Now 208.0/ what will be the value? 20.
22.
Yes. Now here, then you will be writing down the next one: 150.218. And what will be the next one?
212.
212. Okay, it's 212. Okay, because the block size 212. Okay, just 4. So you will add 4, so you can find 212.0/ it will become 23.
3.
Okay. Now here, this time it will be 150.218.214.0/24.
4.
Now this is 150.218. The next,
215.
yes, 215.0/25. Now this is 150.218.215.128/27.
7.
150.218.215. So I suppose
160.
160/27.
7.
Got it? Who all got it? Got the final answer here? This one.
Yeah.
Got it, right? Okay. Where you guys went wrong? Srikanth. Yes. What happened? Completely gone wrong or completely gone wrong? No worries. Today I'll give you homework. No worries. Okay, you know how to do it, right? Yes or no? Fine, right? Over there also, right? Okay, then I'll give you more questions. No worries. Now,
Bharat, hi. I also got it wrong. Can you explain one more time how 208 we got? One last time, please.
okay, sure, no issues. So now, yesterday, say you are given with an IP 150.218.213.215/20. Okay, so first you will find the network address here. So for 20, the block size, what will be the block size? For /20,
16.
16.
will be the block size. Okay, so we'll keep, so 20 will be coming in the third octet. 20 will be coming in the third octet. So you'll keep on adding 16. So the value will be 0, 16, 32, then I suppose then 48, then if I'm not wrong, then 60, or 64. Okay, yeah, 64, like that it keeps on going. Okay, it keeps on going, and in between you will have 192, and then you will have 208, like that. Okay, so 192 plus 16 is 208 only, right? Yes, 208. Okay, so now 208, then 208 plus 16 will give you 224, like that it will go. Okay, so then here the IP given as 213, and the network here will be 208.0. Okay, so again this address, which will be 150.218.208.0/20, is a network address. Okay, the very big network that you are given with. You are given with a very big network, and that is the network address of this network. Now you are gonna split it into small parts. Okay, so now, or you can go with this method also. If it is, say, hard for you to find out the network address like this, then you can go with this method. So /20 is coming in the third octet, you know. Okay, so now to find out the network address, you will be writing down the binary here. You will be writing down the binary of 213. So 150.218. Okay, so here 150.218. Now 213 can be written like this. Okay, so 128 plus 64 plus 0. 32 will be 0, and 16 will be 1, and then I suppose 4. Okay, 8 will be 0, 4, say 2 and 1. If I'm not wrong, then this will be correct. So here 192, 16, 4 and 1. Okay, so this 2 will give you 192, then 16, then 4 and 1. Okay, then so here again this value, the next value is 215. So /20 means you will be drawing the line after, yes, fourth bit in the third octet, that is /20. Okay, now these many bits will be kept as a constant. You will not change it. It will be kept as a constant value. Okay, and so because this portion is called the network portion, and this host portion will be made zeros. So if you find out the network address, it will be 150.218.1101, then all the host bits will be 0. So 0000.0 it will come. Okay, now so this value will be 150.218. This address 192 plus 16 will give you 208.0/20. That's the big network address that you will get. Clear? Now that you have found out the big network address, you will subnet it. You will subnet it, or you will go with the VLSM. Okay, so VLSM here, say, let me tell you the yesterday's method itself. So the requirements are like this. Yes,
Bharat, that is clear. Only confusion was with the 208, getting 208.
208. Okay. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. You guys also clear? Everything fine? Okay. Yes. Then shall we discuss the next question? Yes or no?
Yep.
Okay. Guys, I need response from you guys. Yes or no? Okay. Now, so we'll go with the next question. So please let me know the question. 1.222.223/12. Okay. Now the requirements are 4,000, 2,000, 1,000, 200, 100, 60.
40, 30, 20, 10.
Oh, I have given like this, right? Okay, 40, 30, 20 and 10. Okay, so first we'll find out this the network address here, the say network address of the very big network. Okay, so it is /12. So 12 will be coming in which octet? Second octet.
Second.
Okay, so 12 will be coming, and if you go with the block size will be 16. When you keep on adding 16, you will get the value, I suppose, in between you will have 224, and in between you will have 208.
208.
Okay, and the network address will be 1.208.0.0.
0.0.
Right. Clear?
/16.
Yeah. No, /12 only, because you are given with, say, /12 network. It's a big network. Okay, so here 1.208.0.0/12. That will be the network address. Okay, there, fine. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
guys, mind if I see your notebooks? Okay, maybe later. Now just asked. So now you will subnet for 4000 machines. The address will be 1.208.0.0/20. It will be /20 here. Okay, now so the block size, so when you add the block size for the next one, so you will get 1.208.16.0/ what will be the next one? 21. Want to discuss how you got this 4000 and 2000? No? That also at the back.
Yeah, can you please repeat that 2000 part again?
Okay, simple. So now, so first let me write it down. So here, if you go with this one, say let me write down 1.208.0000000.00. So let me delete this one. Okay, now 0.0.0.0.0.0.0. Okay, now 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, 512, 1024, 2048, 4096, and so on. Okay, so now let me tell you about it. So here for 4000 machines, I suppose here for 4000 machines you will be drawing a line between 4096 and 2048. That means how many bits you have taken? You have taken 4 more bits in the third octet. In the third octet you have taken 4 more bits. So that means in the third octet, so it has become /20. Okay, up to here we got 16 and 17, 18, 19, 20. That's how you got /20 here. Okay, now the next thing. Now to go with the next one, what you're gonna do is you're gonna say find out the broadcast of the first one. So here the address is 1.208.0.0. Okay, and to get the broadcast address you will make all the host bits as 1 here. 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. Okay, then the address will be 1.208 dot, here it will be 15.
15.
Yes, 15.25.
255.
Okay, so now the next address will be, what will be the next address? It will be 1.208.16.0. Clear? That's how we got 16.0. Now again, so now that we are considering 2000 machines, what we will do? So we will draw the line between 2048 and 1024. Clear? So we have, so here when you see it, you can see that I have drawn the line between 2048 and 1024 for the second time. Okay, so here I have drawn the line, and this time I have increased one more bit, so it has become /21. Okay, now then when you go with the next one here, so this time it is again, okay, so this time let it go. Yeah, now 1.208.or. Okay, 208 dot, so here the value is 16 here. Okay, so it will be 00010000 dot 00000000. Okay, now you can see here for 2000 machine we have drawn it here. Okay, we have drawn the line here. And to find out the broadcast address, what will you do? You will make all the host bits as 111.11111111. So the answer or the broadcast address here will be, you already got a 16 here, this value is 16. Along with 16 you're gonna add this 1, 2, 4, right? So it is yes, 16 plus 6 plus, or 16 plus 7 will give you 23. Right, 6 plus, yes, 3. So then the broadcast here will be 1.208.23.255. Okay, then the next address will be what will be the next address? Here it is 23.255. So here it will be, yes, what? It will be 24, yes, 24.0 slash,
22.
okay, 22. Okay, now just give me a moment, guys. 16 plus 8 is 24. Yes, you're right. Now because it's slash 22, because for the 1000 requirement you will draw the line between, say, this 1024 and 512. Okay, so, or let me again once more draw the thing here. 1.208 dot, say, 24 can be written like this, 16 plus 8. Okay, then you can write like this: 0001, it is 16, and then 81,000 dot 00000000. Okay, and when you go with that, say, now the requirement is 1000, so you will draw the line after one more bit. Okay, because you're gonna draw the line between 1024 and 512. So now it has become slash 22. Got it? Okay, now similarly when you do it, okay, do you want me to do completely like this, or just tell the answer? Yes, guys, answer bar. Okay, so now, so this one here, this answer will be 1.208 dot,
28.
yes, now 28.0 slash 24. Okay, now the next address will be 1.208 dot 20, yeah, 29.0 slash 25. Okay, now here it will be 1.208 dot 29 dot 128.
Oh, sorry, 120.
Okay, for 60 machines. For 60 machines is 128 slash
26.
26. Okay, and here for 40 machines it will be 1.208 dot 29 dot 192 slash
26.
26, and for 30 machines it will be 1.208 dot
30.
30.0 slash
27.
27, and here 1.208 dot 30 dot 32 slash 27, and at last you have 1.208 dot 30 dot 64 slash 28. Clear, guys? So this is, yes, so our class is at 8 o'clock, right? Okay. So this is how you will do the things. Okay, if you want you can note it down. Yes. Do we have any more questions?
We had to do summarization for each of them, each of these questions.
Okay. So we'll discuss the summarization of this question. Okay, this question and the previous one.
Both.
Both. Have you done both? Okay, you guys, what about? Done, right? No. Then you can do it. Not now. We'll discuss the answers. Then you can go home and check the answers, whether what you've done is right or wrong. Done. Okay. Then shall we summarize this question? Okay. So now just give me a moment. Let me delete whatever it's unnecessary. Okay. So now when we summarize it, this question, so you will take the first one and you will take the last one. So 1.208.0.0 slash 20, and this is 1.208.30.64 slash 28. So what will be the address here, guys? The summarized address.
1.208.0.0 slash 19.
/16.
Slash 19 it will come. When you do it properly, you will get 19. 16 is also you can write, but yesterday as I told you, you will get, say, it will include many more addresses. So you will not take 16, you will take /19. We'll discuss it, no worries. So here you can see, okay, so now it is 1.2. so here when you take these addresses, you can see it differs in the third octet. It differs in the third octet. So we will expand the third octet. So when you expand it, you will get it like this: 1.208.00000000. Okay, that is for this value. Okay, .0 slash, okay, /20 is not really necessary for now. Now here 1.208.30.64. so 1.208, 30 can be written like this: 0001110.64. Now you can see, so now we'll concentrate in the third octet, because in the third octet the change is happening. In the third octet, from which bit onwards the change is happening? From the fourth bit onwards the change is happening. So we'll draw the line just before the fourth bit. Okay, so that means here this value, so or here it will be 1.208.000. this value will be kept constant, and to the right side everything will be made zeros. So this value will be 00000.0. Okay, and this address will be 1.208. this will completely become 0, so 0.0/90. Clear? Okay, so this is how, okay, you will do the summarization. And when you go with the next one, I mean the previous one, okay, the previous one, let me tell you about the previous one also. When you take the first address, the first address is 150.218.208.22. sorry, 208.0. Now here the last address, here it is 150.218.208. sorry, 215. right, okay, 215.160. okay, here also the change happens in the third octet. So you'll expand the third octet. So when you expand it, say 150.218.208 can be written like this: 192 plus 16. Okay, so this is 192, then yes, 16, then 0000.0. Now this value is 215, so you can write like this, say 208 plus again 15. Sorry, it's not 208 plus 15, 208 plus 7, I suppose. Okay, right, so it will be 150.218.1101. 208 is already there, plus 7. Okay, so 7 means 0111. Got it? Now .160. Now you can see from which, you will now check from which bit onwards the change is happening. See, you can see from the 5th bit, you can see. So here the first is 11, second is also 11, third is 00, fourth is say 11, and fifth is 00. So from the 6th onwards, the change will happen, and before the 6th you will draw the line. Okay, so now then this address will be 150.218.208.0/21, because up to here you got 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 5 more bits are added, so it is /21. Clear? Okay. So similarly you can do the rest of the questions also. Clear, guys? Okay. Now let me give you some more questions here. Okay. So now 28.151.251.111/25. And here let me ask you a question. Here it is given /25. Can I write 1000 machines here?
No,
No. Why, guys?
because in the last octet only 256.
Yes. Okay.
Host only, maybe 254 host can be
Not
accommodated.
6
Yeah.
hosts, you got 7 hosts,
No.
but anyway that you were told, right? Okay, let me tell you. So suppose if you have a classroom, where, say, suppose this classroom can accommodate 100 people. This classroom can accommodate 100 people, but you are asked to sit, or you are asked to, say, place 500 people inside this classroom. Is it possible? No. You got only 100 seats, and say they are telling you to, or somebody is telling you to include 500 people there. Only 100 seats is there and 500 people. You can't include it. It's the same case here. Okay. So here /25 means, say, 25 bits are reserved for network. And how many bits are reserved for host? 7 bits are reserved for host. If you got 7 bits reserved for host, how many values or how many IP addresses you can accommodate? 2 raised to 7. So 2 raised to 7 minus 2 you need to do. Okay, that much assignable IP will be there. So 2 raised to 7 is,
126.
okay, 128 minus 2, 126 addresses you can accommodate. Okay, so you can divide it accordingly. Say that means, suppose 10 machine, 20 machine and all, you can divide it, but you cannot divide it into, or you can't have 1000 people inside that. Clear? Okay, so now here, so the first requirement is 10 machine, then 20 machine, then 60 machine, again 10 machine, say 3 machines, 5 machine. Just give me a minute, guys. Okay, so you can strike this one, start down this one, this 5 you can strike it down, because again you will have, say, many IP addresses here. Okay, shall I give you one more question?
Sure.
Okay, guys, so this is a homework, right? I've told you that this is a homework. Okay, now this is the next one. Here it is, say, suppose 83.1, so always I'll give 150, 151 like that, so let it be 130. Okay, now 245.58 slash, let it be slash 10, where you will be giving 1000, say 2048, then 128, then 64, then 100, 100, 20, 30, 5, 10. Okay, this is also a homework. Now guys, yeah, write it. Done. Okay, now let me go with the new topic for today. Okay, so subnetting is done, and we'll go with new topic. So new topic is, say, iOS. So you can write down iOS, and we'll now, today itself, we'll move into network device or the device configurations. Okay, so now you can write the heading iOS. So inter-network operating system. Now, yes. So this iOS is the operating system used in the Cisco devices. We use this operating system or iOS in the Cisco devices. You might be familiar with the Windows, right? Windows, Linux, and this iOS and all, right? The small iOS and all, right? So these, suppose, or the, say, so these are like another operating system, or Android, right? So these Windows, Linux, and all, these are the operating system in the computers, right? And iOS and the Android, those are the operating system in the phones, mobile phones. So you know what is an operating system, right? Operating system, it is something which acts as an intermediate between the user and the hardware, right? So it will provide the user interface and all, and it will help you to, say, interact with the hardware. It will help the user to interact with the hardware. Now let me tell you, so even the Cisco routers and switches, they will also have an operating system, and the operating system used by the Cisco device, that's called iOS. Okay, now iOS, let me tell you about it. So iOS, there are different types. So you can say, or different, you can say different types. So the first type, you can call it as early deployment. Early deployment means, say, just you need to know casually, that's it. Okay, so I'll be telling you many theory things, but just know. Okay, that's it. So now early deployment is a kind of trial version. Okay, when they release the new things, then they are gonna first release it as a trial version. So that is called early deployment. Now second, you got limited deployment. The limited deployment is what you will purchase. Okay, you can purchase it by paying the money. Okay, so that's the limited deployment. Now you got general deployment. General deployment means, so is a general case. Let me tell you about it. So the general case is that when you buy a hardware router, what happens is that you will go to the Cisco. You will go to the Cisco and you will ask for a router. You will tell your conditions, or you will tell your requirements, and then you will purchase a router. And along with this router, there will be an OS, and that is called the general deployment. Okay, now at last you got one more, which is called maintenance deployment. Maintenance deployment, which is used for, say, fixing the bugs, or say such maintenance things and all. We'll use it. That's the maintenance deployment. Clear? Now the next thing, iOS versions. So iOS has got many, or iOS images first. Okay, iOS images. They have got many images of iOS. Okay, and based on the organization or based on the company requirements, we'll have different images. Example, say IP base. Now say IP base, then advanced, so advanced security. Okay, advanced security. Then suppose service provider services and advanced enterprises, etc. So it is based on the iOS image that you will, it's based on the company's requirement that you will purchase this iOS image, what image you need. So the routers, they can have this advanced security, or the devices can have the advanced security image. So that means the more security features will be included in that image, or you can deploy many security features in that image. Okay, if you have advanced enterprise, then you can go for the IPv6 configurations, the IPv6 and much more configurations. Now the service provider devices, or the service provider services, you can go for something called MPLS and all, which comes in the service providers thing. So there, say, I told you it is based on the requirements. If you are working with the MPLS technology, or if you are working with the IPv6 technology, you will buy accordingly. You will buy the images accordingly. Clear? Now the next thing, okay, now iOS image. So now let me take an iOS image, example of an iOS image here. So let me take suppose, okay, I suppose I have a PowerPoint around somewhere around here. Let me take it. Okay, this is it. I'll share it with you. Okay, today I'll share it with you. So here, so this is the image. So yes, now you can see here. So this is how we will represent the iOS. Okay, so iOS trademark, then say 2500. So you can see a value here, C2500. So C2500, it means you're using Cisco router series 2500 series. So the router itself, so the router has got the Cisco routers, they have divided into many types. Okay, so you got many series of routers. You got something called ASR series, something you got ISR series, like that. Okay, of which again the ASR series, say it is for the service providers that we use the ASR, or the bigger environment that we are using the ASR series. And for the ASR, I suppose I forgot. Okay, something service router or something like that. Okay, this is integrated service router, something like that. ASR, I need to check, asymmetric or something like that. You can check it. Okay, even I forgot that too. So those are ASR series routers, or those routers you can see it. Okay, if you see it, say it will be like a rack kind of, or very big things, ASR series routers. Okay, now this ISR series router, that's a small, or say it's a small boxes like this, which can be used for the smaller networks. Okay, now so again let me tell you, so again in the ISR series you got different models. Okay, or different series. So 2500 series will be there, suppose 2600 series will be there. So you got a lot of series there. And again, say in the 19 series will be there. In the 19 series, again another, or 18 series will be there. In the 18 series, again some more models are there. So you got different models, okay, of routers, and each support say different things. Okay, now so here it means C2500. Okay, C2500 means it's a Cisco 2500 series router. And then you can see the version here. So this version, it is the major version of iOS. Major version of iOS. And this is the minor version of iOS. Minor version. And this is the, say, feature release. Okay, suppose they have released an iOS, say 16. Okay, iOS 16 itself will have 16.0, then 16.1, 16.2, like that. They'll have minor, say, lot of minor iOS releases will be there. And even in the minor series, they will introduce some features, and then they'll have this number. So again, 16.0.2, another, say, thing they have introduced. So when you see this number, you need to understand this is the major release, minor release, and this is the feature release. And say here you can see, say this is the major release, minor release, feature release, and this is the maintenance release. So here, in case of any maintenance, they are gonna, say, do it like that. Clear, guys? Okay, just for the sake of telling it, I am just providing it. Okay, now again, so this is the Cisco. So now that we have discussed about the iOS is the operating system. Now we are going to check the hardware thing. Hardware thing means, say, suppose this is the box here. Okay, and here in the box, so this router is like a, so you can see this is the box here. These are the, or say, the down things. Okay, the downward you can see the routers. Okay, so the routers, so you can see the box here, and the box consists of many things here. It consists of certain serial interfaces, fast Ethernet interfaces, some console port, auxiliary port, power switch, power cord, etc. Of course, we will study all these things, what these are, but now, say, let me tell you here, of course, you know this. The power cord means you can connect the power cable to it. Now, this power switch means you can turn it off or turn it on. Now, so you will study about the interface and ports a little bit later. Okay, now, again, coming to the hardware portions. Okay, coming to the hardware components of the router. So, of course, inside this box, you will have a board. You will have a motherboard. And in that motherboard, you will have CPU or the root processor. Okay, which is responsible for all the functions in the router. Right. So, CPU, you know how much important is the CPU in the computer. So, similarly, you got a CPU in the router as well. Okay. Now, another thing is the RAM. RAM, you already know, random access memory. So RAM or random access memory consists of a running configuration. It consists of running configuration. So running configuration, that means, say, whatever that you run, whatever configurations that from today on you will start doing the configurations. Okay, so whatever configurations you do, it will be present in the RAM. But the problem is that when the power goes, all the values will go. Right, that's so the RAM is volatile. RAM is volatile. Now, so whatever configurations that you do, it's called the running configuration, and you ought to save it. You ought to save the configuration. So when you save the configuration, that is called startup configuration. What is it called? Startup configuration. That means when you save it, if you save that, and then when you reload the router, if at all you reload the router, while starting up the router or at the time of startup, the router will load this saved configuration, and that's why it's called startup configuration. Clear? Okay. Now again, so RAM, whatever values in the RAM, you can save it, and you will save that to another value called NVRAM. You have another extra component called NVRAM, which is non-volatile RAM. Non-volatile RAM. So you have another component called NVRAM, where you will save all the configurations from the RAM. Getting it? Okay. Now again, you got another one called flash memory. So flash memory means, or flash memory, say, it stores iOS. I told you, you got iOS, Internet Networking Operating System, in the routers. And where will it be stored? It will be stored in the flash memory. So some routers has got inbuilt flash memory, while some routers has got an external flash card. That depends upon the model. Okay. Now again, another component, ROM. ROM, of course, you know, read-only memory. It is read-only memory. In case of any, say, suppose, so whenever you manufacture this, or when you manufacture the router, you will burn these values in the ROM, and there will be certain programs which is already defined in the ROM. Example, post, power on, self-test. Getting it? Okay. Now you got some more things, ports and interfaces. Do you need a break? No. So ports and interfaces. So let me tell you about ports and interface. Even though I explain it, say, you may not get it, but later you will understand. When we start doing the configurations, you will understand. Okay. So now ports here, ports are used to configure a router. Ports are used to configure a router. Okay. Have you ever configured, say, suppose, have you ever wondered how the remote cars and all work? Or suppose not the remote control cars, say suppose some robot or something works. Yes. So the robots, they will have a chip. Right. They'll have a chip, or say they will have a board, maybe something in the board. You might have seen it in the movies. And what you can do is you can program something. Okay. Suppose, so when we get up early in the morning, bring us a coffee. Okay, and you will be writing the codes, right? You will be writing the codes, and when you write the codes, actually you are say typing something from the computer and you are say inputting it in the robot or something. Okay, so you really need to connect from this computer to robot. Get it, guys? So you are configuring the robot, you can see. You are inputting certain programs into the robot. Right, so you need to connect from this computer to robot. So for that, or again replacing that robot with the router here, so you need to configure the router. If you want to configure the router, then you will use the ports here. Okay, now you got several types of ports. The first type of port, that is called console port. That's called console port. Okay, and the next type, that is called auxiliary port. Auxiliary port is not used nowadays. Okay, and the third port, that is called VTY port. VTY means virtual teletype. Virtual teletype. Okay, now today you will be studying about the console port. Again, a little bit later you will study about the console port. Okay, now so you will be studying how you can connect the computer to the router's console port, and then how to configure the router. You will study it today. Okay, now after configuring this say router, suppose this is the router. After configuring the router, a router will be placed in between two networks. So I might have told you that the router can be used to connect two networks. So all the computers, these computers can be connected to a switch, and say these computers can also be connected to a switch. Okay, now from these switch you can connect it to a router, and we'll connect it to not to the router's ports but to router's interface. So interface is used to connect to a network. You can see it is the network connection, right? So interface is used to get the network connection, or it is used to get the connect to the network. Clear? Okay, now the router has got many interfaces. The basic ones I'll be telling you. So the interfaces are Ethernet interface. You got Ethernet interface in the router. Okay, and you got fast Ethernet interface. Then you got gigabit Ethernet interface. Okay, now then you got serial interface. Like that, you got different interface for router. These are the basic ones. Okay, now the Ethernet interface has a bandwidth of 10 Mbps. It is a bandwidth of 10 Mbps, and fast Ethernet has a bandwidth of 100 Mbps, and gigabit Ethernet has a bandwidth of 1 Gbps. Yes, 1024, or so it's not 1024, it is 1000. Okay, so 1 Gbps. Now serial interface has a serial interface. There are different types of serial interfaces. The base bandwidth is 1.544 Mbps. 1.544 Mbps. Now going with the transmission modes. The Ethernet works in half duplex. Fast Ethernet, gigabit Ethernet, etc. they can work in the full duplex. Okay, they can work in half or full duplex. So they will by default work in full duplex. Clear? So these are the important interfaces: Ethernet interface, fast Ethernet interface, gigabit Ethernet interface, and serial interface. Okay, yes. Now, and again, let me again tell you one more time. So interface are used to connect to routers or to the networks, you can say. Okay, now again coming back, so here, yes, ASR, yes, here also I forgot to mention the ASR. So let me Google it and tell you the the full form. Okay, now a little bit later maybe. So then you got, yes, the router LEDs. Okay, so the router, you can see some LEDs, and the LEDs, they say something. So if the LED is on, then it so you can see, or it will notify you that some activities are going on in the interface. Now if it is off, then it might be inactive, or it might be facing a problem. Okay, now if it is always on, then that means the interface is extremely busy. Again, these are just for the information. Say the LED things and all, it's not so relevant. Nobody's gonna ask you what is the LED though. Say what are the LED indications, like that. Nobody's gonna ask you. Okay, now maybe for the switch they'll ask, not for the routers. Okay, now so again, this amber or orange color, it says error. It says error. Okay, now one more thing. So here I was about to show you, these are the interface here. These are the serial interfaces. These are the serial interfaces. Okay, and these are the fast Ethernet interfaces. So the fast Ethernet, say you can see it looks like, or you have the RJ45 port. You have the RJ45 port for the fast Ethernet. Okay, and it looks similar to the console port. So the console port and the auxiliary port also has an RJ45 port, but both are used for different purpose, so do not compare it. Okay, so the fast Ethernet or this interface are used for, say, getting connected to networks, while these ports are used for, say, configuring the router. Okay, now we'll go back to this one, or we'll go to this one, this process. So this process, okay. So now the booting procedure of a router. This is the booting procedure of a router that we are going to study. Now let me tell you briefly about it. Suppose the router is turned on. When the router is turned on, then the post happens. Post means power on self-test. Power on self-test. So post will happen. So the router will check whether it has all the components, and it will check whether everything is working fine or not. Now if everything is working fine, then there is a bootstrap program in the ROM which will check for a value called, okay, so guys, just give me a moment. Okay, so now, so when the router is turned on, the post will happen, and after the post, the bootstrap program in the ROM will check for a value called configuration register value. It'll check for a value called configuration register value. Suppose, just as an example. Okay, so now you are getting up. So you are waking up in the morning. When you wake up in the morning, what you will do? You will stretch your arms. You stretch your arms and legs to see whether everything is working perfectly fine or not, right? Whether your arms and legs having any problem or not, you will just stretch it, right? So that can be considered as a post. Then you will check. Suppose your mom, say your mom and dad, suppose say, or your wife or whoever it is, they are working, suppose, consider. Now, so if they are working, then they'll not be giving you the coffee or tea directly. Suppose they have kept the coffee in, or they have kept the coffee in, say, suppose, flask. They have kept the coffee in flask, or suppose they have kept the coffee in a cup. Okay, then they'll mention a number to you. They'll mention a number to you. Say you will check WhatsApp, then you will find out that a number, a 0x2102, suppose some random numbers. Okay, so when you check some random numbers, when you find this number 0x2102, then you will understand, then the tea or the coffee is in flask. Okay, now when 0x2142, this value is seen, then you will understand it is in the tea or the coffee is in a cup. Okay, similarly, so they will check for a value called configuration register value. Okay, and the configuration register value, you have say two values to study here. The first value is called 0x2102 and the second value is called 0x2142. If the value is 0x2102, then it is mentioned the iOS can be loaded from flash memory. iOS can be loaded from flash memory. And the startup configuration, I told you about a startup configuration. Whenever the router is loaded, see the saved configuration will be loaded, and the saved configuration is called startup configuration. And the startup configuration can be loaded from NVRAM. Startup configuration can be loaded from NVRAM. Getting it, guys? Okay, so now, so what happens is that if this is the value, this is the configuration register value, iOS will be loaded from the flash memory. So the iOS will be loaded to the RAM. The iOS will be loaded to the RAM. And then they will check the startup configuration, whether the startup configuration is present or not in the NVRAM. If it is present, it will be loaded to the RAM. And then the router goes to the working state. Okay, now again let me show it to you. So here you got another value, another configuration register value, which is called 0x2142. If this is there, or if this is mentioned, then again the iOS is loaded from the flash memory. Okay, then even if you have the saved configuration, that will not be loaded. The saved configuration will not be loaded. Getting it? Okay, then it will not be loaded, the saved configuration will not be loaded. Then you can see, if it is not loaded, then it will skip loading the configuration, and then it will load the initial setup. It will ask whether to say configure the initial setup or not, or the initial dialog or not. When we give no, we will, or without any configuration, the router will load. Without any configuration, the router will load. So this is the process. Getting it? So this is the router booting procedure. The basic thing. So here I have mentioned it. Okay, in the PowerPoint itself I have mentioned it. You can say read it later. Okay, here I mentioned the same thing. Okay, now that the router is loaded, or the router is turned on and the router is in working state, so shall we configure the router? Okay, so now we'll configure the router. Just give me a minute. So now to configure a router again, so let me turn on a router here. Just give me a moment. Now guys, now the router is turned on. Okay, yes. Now the router is turned on, and what I'm going to do is I need to configure the router, right? Yes, anyone having doubt? Okay, so now I'm going to configure the router. So if at all, so give me a minute. Yes, if at all I want to configure a router, I have my computer. Okay, and I have the router here. So I need to connect my computer to the router to configure it. Okay, so what you will do is that you will connect it to the port. You will connect it to the port. So now you're going to connect it to the console port. You're going to connect it to the console port. Okay, so now let me tell you. To connect to the console port, so we will use, or you can use the rollover cable. You can use the rollover cable. Okay, now, or again let me tell you, so the computer, it will have, or previously the computers used to have something called COM port. The computer used to have something called COM port. So the COM port looks like this. You might have seen, say, the USB port, you might have seen the, say, VGA port, like that, right? So similarly, you got a COM port in the computer, and from the COM port you can connect it to the console port of the router. Okay, nowadays the computers doesn't come with a COM port. If at all it doesn't come with a COM port, what you're gonna do is you can have you can connect it to the USB. Okay, you can connect the router to the USB. So from the USB, then you will have a converter. So you will convert it and so this is the DB9. So the COM port, so this port is called DB9. It's called DB9 because it is D-shaped and it has got 9 pins. It's called DB9. So the DB9 converter you will use. Okay, you will use the DB9 converter. So with the converter you can connect it to the console port. Clear, guys? So this is how I'm gonna connect. So now USB. Okay, so now let me connect my computer. So you can see this is the cable. Okay, and this is called the console cable, guys, this blue color. So I'll show it to you, the online guys also. So let me show it to you here in the PowerPoint. I hope you can see it clearly, right? Yes or no? Guys, I need a response. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So now, here you can see this is the console port of the router. Okay. This is the console port of the router, and from the console port, so this blue color, this is the console cable, or this is the rollover cable here. Okay. Now, then you will connect it. So here, this is the DB9 adapter, or this is the COM port of the device, of the computer. So here nowadays, even now I say my laptop also doesn't have the COM port. So what I have done is, say from this connector, this DB9 connector, I've used the USB connector, or the USB DB9 to USB connector. I've used it, okay, to connect it. So that's what I'm doing it. So now, so let me connect it. Okay, so I'll connect one end, the USB end, to my computer, and the other end, the console end, will be connected to the router's console, and the console end will be an RJ45, will be having an RJ45, say, connector. Okay, so now let me connect it physically. Okay, now just give me a moment. Okay, maybe later after the class you can come and see this. Okay, now that I have connected, yes, I connected it physically like this. Now what I'm gonna do is that I need to have some softwares in my computer. So this software is called, or the softwares which are necessary to access the router, those softwares are called terminal. Yes, okay, I'll come to that. Say terminal emulation softwares. Okay, and you got multiple terminal emulation softwares. Say one among the terminal emulation software is the PuTTY, which I will be using it. Okay, you got many terminal emulation software. PuTTY is one of them. Secure CRT is another. Okay, and SolarWinds PuTTY is another. And then CLI Analyzer is another. Like that, you got different say terminal emulation software. Okay, now that I'm gonna use a software called PuTTY. Shall we use it? Okay, so now I'll be taking the PuTTY in the computer, and then we'll be accessing the router. Okay, so now, so let me take the software called PuTTY. Okay, so let me say I'll be typing PuTTY here, and this is the putty. Okay, you can see, I suppose so, here this is the putty. When I take putty, I'll have something like this. So just give me a moment. Okay, so now I'll take putty, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click onto the serial. I'll click onto the serial, and from the serial what I'm gonna do is, say here you can see something called COM port. Okay, so the COM port number will change. It will be, say, maybe sorry, it'll be 1, it'll be 2, 3, 4 or 5 or 6 or some other value. Okay, so you have to find out to which COM port of your computer you are connected it. To which COM port of your computer you have connected it. Okay, so now let me take, to check that, what I'm gonna do is I'll take the device manager. I'll take the device manager. To take the device manager, I'll take run and we'll type the command dev mgmt.msc. dev mgmt.msc. Okay, so what happens is that you can see a pop-up has come up. The device manager pop-up has come up. And let me again show it to you. So you're gonna take this one, the ports COM and LPT. You're gonna click onto that. You click the COM and LPT. So if you got only one COM port, then you can conclude that, so this is your port number. But here you can see multiple COM ports are there. I'm confused. Which COM port is mine? I really don't know. So you got a COM 5 and you got a COM 3. So either you can check the name. You can see here USB to serial. Okay, or if at all it is confused, you are confused, remove that cable. I told you physically I have connected from the router's console to my USB. Remove the cable. I have removed it, and one has gone. Okay, and see the COM 3, previously we had a COM 3 that has gone, and now we got COM 5. So this is not the connection, because now our connection, I have just removed it, so we will not have it. Now let me reconnect it back. When I reconnect, you can see it has again come back. So I can conclude that ours is COM 3. Clear, guys? Then what we will do is that we will take putty, and instead of COM 1, I'll write COM 3. Okay, then you will check the rate or the speed. Say it should be 9600 bits per second. Okay, so now again what you're gonna do is you're gonna go to the serial and you're gonna check these things. So the serial line is connected or the console is connected to COM 3 or not, you will check it. The speed or the baud rate is 9600 bits per second or not, you will check it. And then you will check the flow control, which should be set as none. Okay, then you will click this open. At last you will get the router's console. Now that you have got the router's console, so when you press enter, you can see something, right? So now that you have entered into the router, we will configure the router. Clear, guys? We'll configure the router. Okay, so shall we do the configurations? Okay, now so you can see, okay, so these are the, so first you can see something like this, R2 with a greater than symbol. Okay, sometimes it will be like this, the prompt will be like this, router with a greater than symbol. Okay, when you see this greater than symbol, that means you are in the outermost mode of the router. You are in the outermost mode of the router. So this outermost mode, this mode is called user execution mode. What is it called? User execution mode. So this mode is the outermost mode, and say now you are in that outermost mode. Now let me just tell you, so you want to again, if you want to go inside the router, you again have got some more modes. Okay, so if you want to go inside the router again, you will type the command called enable. You will type the command called enable. if you type the command, okay, we'll talk about it later, the password and all, we'll talk about it later. So now when you type the enable, so then you will move to R2 hash. So previously it was something like this, R2 or the router with a greater than symbol. Now when you type enable, then you will move to the prompt called router hash. This prompt is called, say the first prompt was called user execution mode or user exec mode. Now this prompt where you will have the hash, this prompt is called privilege exec mode. Privilege exec mode, or you will call it as enable mode. You will call it as enable mode. Clear? So that means you are now privileged to execute some more commands. You are inside the router again and you are privileged to execute some more commands. Then again you got one more mode. Yes, to go to that mode you will type, say from this privilege execution mode you will type configure terminal. What you will type? Configure terminal. It's terminal, TERMINAL. Let me write it, say clearly, configure terminal. Then you will go to the third mode, which is called, yes, which will be like this, or router config hash. So router config hash, that means you are in the global configuration mode. You are in the global configuration. Clear, guys? So now that you are in the privileged mode, shall I give this command configure terminal? Then you will find the prompt has now moved into global config mode. So now let me give it configure terminal. You can see you have now moved into global config mode. Clear? Okay, now if you want to exit back to the privileged execution mode, if you want to go back to the privileged execution mode, you will give it exit. Okay, now if you want to go to the user execution mode, you will give exit again. Clear? Then you can find you have moved into the user execution mode. Any doubts, guys? Yes or no? Okay, so again you can, if you want, you can write it down. Okay, so these are the commands. So from the user exec mode you will go to a privilege execution mode and say and the global config mode. And if you want to exit back, you will give it like this. Sorry, from the R config hash, then you will exit, you will move to the R hash, again exit, and R greater than symbol. Okay. Yes. Now guys, I shall be taking a small break. Okay, so I'll be taking a break for 5 minutes. We'll continue the class after 5 minutes. Okay, we'll get back at 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 or 23. Okay guys. So guys, shall we then start? Okay, so I hope everyone online guys are also there. So we'll start the class now. Okay, so now you can see, now I'm trying to access the console, right? So again you can say enable, then suppose you will study it later, then configure terminal. Okay, now so for you guys, so of course you cannot have routers in your home. Okay, you cannot have routers in your home, and to buy a router also it's costly, and for just for studying the CCNA, it's not really, you don't really need to purchase a router. So to practice CCNA, so Cisco has come up with a software called Cisco Packet Tracer. It's called Cisco Packet Tracer. Okay, I've already forwarded you in the group, I suppose. Okay, so actually I intended to forward to some other group and then accidentally posted in your group. Okay, so still I'll again forward it in your group also. This today also I'll share it. One more time I'll share it. So I've already, so either you can download from that link which I've already uploaded in the Google Drive. I've already uploaded the packet tracer in the Google Drive. You can download it and you can install it, or you can download yourself. Okay, so you can download it and you can install that in your computer. Then we will be configuring the routers and all the devices using the Cisco Packet Tracer. Now you got one more software which is called GNS3. Okay, one more software is there, GNS3 is there, and if you want to use GNS3, you should at least, or minimum, you should have 8 GB RAM. A minimum, 8 GB RAM should be there. Okay, if you have 8 GB RAM, then, or with the i3 or suppose i5 processor, then you can go with the GNS3 software. Okay, now installing the Cisco Packet Tracer, it's simple. It's just a software you can install in the same manner you say that you install a software. Okay, now so when you have installed this Packet Tracer, what happens is that when you log in or when you take the Packet Tracer for the first time, they'll ask you to log in. They'll ask you to log in. So if they ask for the login, so a page will come like this and they'll ask you to log in. Okay, when they ask you to log in, you can go to Google. Okay, you can go to Google and you can take Cisco, or you can Google search Cisco Networking Academy. Okay, Cisco Networking Academy, and then you will find a website called www.netacad.com. Okay, you can go to this website and then you will have a login here. You can click on to this login and you can sign up. Okay, you can create your own account. You can create your own account and then you can log in. And when you log in, so here I told you they will ask for a login page, right? So you can log in through this one. The right side you will have a green one. You can log into that green one. That's it. Okay, then you will be able to say take this Packet Tracer. Clear? Okay, now installation of GNS3, it requires some additional thing. Okay, I've already added a video, so let me just take this, say the link here. So this is the link that I'll be sharing you. Okay, so you can see I've uploaded the Cisco Packet Tracer and the GNS3 both. Okay, the Packet Tracer you can install and then you can log into the NetAcad and you can just log in. Now for installing GNS3, I've added two videos here, installation 1 and installation 2 videos. Again, if you are not able to configure as per the video, or if you are facing any issues, then you can contact me, but I really don't know any issues regarding the GNS3. So you can contact our lab instructor, who is Arun sir. Okay, I have already shared his number in the group. Today also I'll share his number. Okay, you can contact him at the during the working hours. Okay, so now then you can install this GNS3. Okay guys, yes. Now this is the thing. Okay, now that we'll be going with, so I suppose that you have understood what all softwares you need to use and what all you need to do. Yes or no? Okay, Satish, yeah. Okay, now getting bored guys? Okay, now that we will do the configuration. Okay, now we'll do the configuration in the router. Let me tell you the configuration one by one. Okay, suppose, say the small things first. So you can see, say R2 here. So when, say suppose that I take packet tracer. Okay, I've turned off the router because like if I turn on the router I'll have to say explain it louder. Okay, so if I explain it louder again my throat will have some problem. Okay, so now that I'll be explaining it, maybe I'll tell you what to do in the packet tracer. So now when you take the packet tracer, these are the routers you see. Okay, you can click on to here, you will see the routers. Okay, take any one router. Take any one router and then click on to the router. After clicking, then you can click on to this CLI. Okay, there is a tab called CLI tab. You can click on to, not this one. Okay, you can click on to this CLI tab and then say, just give me a minute. Okay, now the router has come. Okay, the router has turned on. Now you can see, would you like to enter the initial config dialog, yes or no? Just give no here. Then you can see the router has gone into the user execution mode. Then let me just tell you what you're gonna do is you're gonna type enable. Then you have moved into the privilege execution mode. Then configure terminal. Oops. Okay. Yes. Configure terminal. When you type it, you will go to the global config mode. Okay, now that we'll be doing the small configurations. Now first let me tell you how to change the router's name. So this is, you have seen this, the router's name is router itself, and in the real router we have another name which is R2, right? So how to change the host name, that's what I'm going to teach you first. How to change the host name. So to change the host name, I'll go to the config mode and I'll mention the command like this: host name. Then you will give a host name, whatever you want, you will give that name. Suppose you want to give the name like this, say Paris. Okay, then you have, say, you can see the name has changed to Paris now. Clear? Okay, so this is how you will change the name. Okay, so you will go to the config mode and then you will give the name, and this in the global config mode. So the global config mode is where you will configure all the configurations. Whatever config you will do it in the global config mode. Clear? Okay, now again going with another one. So now suppose you want to configure something called banner. You want to configure something called banner. Banner means, so you might have seen some banners while coming to NH or while going to some places, you might see some banners, right? So in the elections and all, you can see some banners. What is a banner? Banner is something which will just show you a message. It will just show you a message. So to just display a message, you will use the banner. You got a lot of banners. We'll be discussing about MOTD banner, message of the day banner. Okay, to configure the message of the day banner, you will go to the config mode and you will mention like this: banner MOTD, message of the day. Then you will type any alphabet or any special character, okay, or anything. You will type anything. Then you will mention the message: do not or don't say access the router. The router Paris. Okay, then say you will mention the same character we just mentioned previously. That means at the first you have mentioned a character and you will mention the same character here. So this character can be anything. It can be a special character, it can be a, say, a normal character, it can be a number, anything which denotes the starting and ending of the message. Clear? So now that we have, let me put some explanation also. Okay, now that I have mentioned this message, don't access the router Paris. Okay, then to see this message, you're gonna go into the user execution mode. You have exited multiple times. So once you exit, or for the first time when you exit from the global config mode, you will move into the privilege execution mode. Again, if you exit, then you will move to the user execution mode. And now you can see the message, don't access the router Paris. This is the message that I have typed, and you can see this message. Clear? So this is how you will type the banner. Okay, now the next command. Now again, let me go to, say, the global config mode, configure terminal. Okay, now so I told you, you got user execution mode, privilege execution mode, global config mode. Am I going faster? No. Okay. Now, so previously in the router you have seen something. While entering from the user to the privilege execution mode, you have seen a password was asked. A password was asked. So shall we set the password? When you want to enter from the user to the privilege execution mode, previously you have seen a password, and that password is called enable password. That password is called enable password. So enable password is used to enter into the privilege execution mode from the user execution mode. So let me set the enable password. So the enable password can be set like this. You will go to the global config mode and you will type the command enable, then password, then you will type the password, suppose Cisco. Type the password Cisco. Okay, then when you exit it, again when you exit, now you are in the user execution mode. Yes. Now when you type the command enable, a password is being asked. Previously the password was not asked. Now the password is asked, which is Cisco. So CISCO. I am typing it, but you can't see it. You can't see being typed, right? So again CISCO. You can't see it because it will not show you the password. Okay, so CISCO. Now that I've typed a new one, again it accepted, but it will not show how many characters it is, what are the characters, it will not show. Clear? Okay. So this is how you will configure this password. Okay, now this enable password is a weak password. It is a weak password because, so I told you, whatever configuration that you do, whatever the things that you do here in the router, that means this host name, this enable password, whatever things that you do here can be seen in the running configuration. So whatever configurations that you do, I told you, it will be there in the running config, and these configurations can be seen in the running config also. So if somebody takes the running config, they will get to know the password, right? So when you take it, say show running -config. To view something, you will go to the privilege execution mode. So this is the privilege execution mode. Okay, and then there you will execute this command called show running -config. So if you want to see the running configuration, this is the command, and when you execute it, you will get lot of page. Okay, you will get lot of page, or the output which will be having lot of pages. Okay, so when I execute it, you can see here, you can see more. So what you're gonna do is press the space bar so that it will go page by page, or you can press enter so that you can see it line by line. If you want to stop it, you can press any other character. Okay, so now you can see here lot of things have come. When I say done this show running config, running-config, you can see lot of things have come, of which you can read this one. Okay, the host name is Paris. The host name is Paris. Now the enable password is Cisco. So is that a safe password? No. Anyone can look at it, or anyone can see what is the password here. So because it is shown here. So now for the same purpose, that means, so to enter from the user to the privileged execution mode, you can set as say some secret password, or you can say some encrypted password, okay, or some hashed password you can say, or which is more secured one. That password is called enable secret password. That's called enable secret password. Shall we set the enable secret password? Okay, so to set the enable secret password, what you will do is that you will again go to the config mode, global config mode. So configure terminal. You will go to the global config mode and you will mention the command enable secret. Enable secret. Then you will mention the password, suppose Cisco123. Cisco123. Okay, now that if I exit again, so now you are back in the the user execution mode, and now if you type enable, okay, so again the password is asked. So this time let me ask you, here you have already set the enable password and also the enable secret password. So here if both are set, then the router will be asking for the enable secret password because it is having more, or it is more secured. So the router will be prompting for not the enable password but for the enable secret password. So first let me type the enable password. So if I type Cisco123, right, or yes, the password, if I type Cisco, then that is the enable password that will not accept here, right? So CISCO, is it accepted? No. Again CISCO, still not accepted. But if I type Cisco123, which is the enable secret password, it will get accepted. So CISCO123, it got accepted. Clear, guys? So now let us check whether enable secret password is a secured one or not. So you will type show running -config. So you can see here, and so host name is Paris, enable password is Cisco, but there is something you can notice: enable secret password, and I have typed the enable secret password as Cisco123. But now can you read it as Cisco123? No, because it is a hashed value. It is a hashed value, and this value is hashed by using a protocol called MD5 algorithm. You will use an algorithm called MD5 algorithm to say hash this one. Clear? Okay. Now, so here you can see this as 5. That means it is MD5. Clear? Now, the latest routers, they have some more mechanisms. They have some more mechanisms, or they even have, so the MD5 is also, you can decrypt it, or you can get those values. If you type, say you want to say decrypt, or you want to unhash, or decipher, or whatever is the word, so you can get that password back. Cisco123, you can get it back. So nowadays the routers use some more say advanced things. Some more advanced things means they use another protocol called SHA, secured hash algorithm. Okay, so they use this secured hash algorithm for again encrypting these passwords. Clear, guys? Okay, so this is the enable secret password. Any doubts in this one?
If you want to remove the password, then
Yes. If you want to remove the password, or if you want to negate any command, you will go to the prompt where you have enabled that command. So suppose you have enabled this, say, or you have done this host name and the enable secret and the enable password, you have done it in the global config mode. So that means you will go to the global config mode and you will type the same command, the host name, whatever is the command, you will type the same thing. Okay, and then in front of that you will give a no. In front of that command you will give a no. So no host name Paris. right? Then you can see the name has now changed to the default one, which is the router. Okay, now again the same. Oh god. Okay, again the same thing here. So what you're going to do is you will type this command. Say this is the command that you typed, enable password Cisco. Okay, so you will go to the config mode and you will type the same thing and you will type no in front of it, no enable. So here you don't need to mention the user defined values. Okay, so no enable password, it is deleted. Okay, the same thing, no enable secret. Okay, so the command was enable secret. Now that if you give no, then if you paste it, no enable secret. Okay, now if you check it again, if you exit, now if you type enable, whether the password will be asked? The password has not asked. Clear? So this is how you disable the passwords and anything and everything in the router. So you will give the same command and you will give the no in front of it. Clear? Okay. So I suppose you have understood, right? Okay. Now let me tell you some more things. Okay, now so I told you that you got user execution mode, privilege execution mode, and global config mode. So you have set the password between the user execution mode and the privilege execution mode. Now even so, that is called enable password or enable secret password. Now even before say getting into the user execution mode, you can set a password. If you are trying to access the router via the console, you can set the console password, and the console password will be asked even before you enter into the user execution mode. Clear? Getting it? So now again we'll configure the console port password. For that we'll go to the config mode and then we'll go to the console port. To go to the console port, the command is line console 0. Line console 0. Then you will mention the password like this, password, then whatever the password is you will give it. Suppose CCNA. The password is CCNA. Then you will give the command login. Login is a must command. If you configure the password and if you want to like prompt for this password, login should be given, then only the password will be prompted. Okay, so if you do not give the say the login keyword, they will not ask for the password. Okay, now that we will exit. So you can see, so you have moved into the console, line console 0, and you can see the console, the prompt has changed. The prompt has changed to config-line. Then you can see the password CCNA, then we have given the login, then we have exited. Clear? The same thing. So now let me show it to you. Now when you exit, again when you exit, now that you can see, yes, router console 0 is now available. I am trying to access the router via the console. So even before I enter into the the user execution mode, a password is being asked. Clear? So do not access the router Paris and the password is asked, and you can say give CCNA now, CCNA, and now you have moved into the user execution mode. Clear? Okay. Again enable configure terminal. Okay. Now suppose you have logged in via, so I told you about the console port, then auxiliary port, and also VTY port. So auxiliary port is not there for you now. So when you want to log in via the console port, you can set a console password. Now if at all you are logging via the VTY port, you can set the VTY password. So let me teach you how you can set the VTY password. To set the VTY password, you will go to the global config mode and you will type this, line VTY 015. Line VTY 015. You will mention like that because let me tell you what it is. So here VTY lines or VTY ports are used to remotely access the router. Remotely access in the sense, suppose the router is in US. Okay, and if the router is in US, and if you want to access the router from India, if you want to access the router, you are really accessing it from a remote location, right? And that is called remote access procedure. Okay, so you can remotely access the router from India, or you can remotely access the router from, say, US, or you can remotely access the router from, say, Canada, or you can remotely access from Mexico, or you can remotely access from, suppose, Dubai, from any part of the world. From Australia also you can remotely access it. Clear? So simultaneously lot of people can simultaneously access the router. Okay, so when you access it, suppose you might be logged into VTY port number 0, you might be logged into VTY port number 1, you may be logged into VTY port number 2, maybe 3, maybe 4. You have 16 VTY ports, so together 16 people can log into the router. So you are configuring the password for all the 16 VTY ports, and that's why I mentioned 0 space 15. Clear? So now you can see I have moved into the VTY lines. Then I can give the password like this. Suppose the password is CCNP. Okay, then I'll give the command login, then I'll exit. Now when I access via the VTY, now that I'm not going to access via VTY, when I access via the VTY, this password will be prompted. Then you can say give CCNP and login via the VTY lines. Clear? Okay, now you might have noticed one thing. Suppose that we got Srikanth. So when Srikanth is logging into the router via console, or suppose I am logging into the router, or if somebody else is logging into the router, everyone has a same password, which is CCNA. Everyone has got the same password, which is CCNA. So now you can set different username and different password also. For each username you can set different password. So let me tell you that also. So to configure that, what you're gonna do is you will go to the config mode and you will configure the username. What you will configure? Username. So you'll mention something like this, username, and then you will mention like this, say the username, suppose Srikanth, and say the password is Srikanth123. Okay, then the username, suppose Bharat, then the password is Bharat123. So any password you can give. I'm just randomly giving 1, 2, 3 and all. Okay, now suppose Omar, password it's Omar123. Okay, then to log in via the console using the username and password, you can log in via the console, you can log in via the VTY and not. To log in via the console using the username and password, you will go to the console. So line console 0. Then you will give, instead of login, you will mention it as login local. You will mention it as login local. That means say login using the local credentials mentioned in this router. Got it? So again when you exit, again when you exit, and again when you exit. Now when you access the router, they have asked for the username and password. So username, suppose Srikanth, then the password is SRIKANTH123. Srikanth123. I've logged into this router. Clear, guys? So this is how you will log into the router. Any doubt? Okay, now so again enables, again configure terminal and all, you can do it. Now for username and password also, username suppose ABC, and okay, you can configure the secret password. For each username also you can configure the secret password. So you are now making it secured again. Suppose secret password is ABC123. Okay, so for Srikanth also I can configure a secret password. For me also I can configure a secret password. So for each individual users you can configure the secret password. And the advantage is that, let me tell you the advantage. So again, show running -config. Okay, when you execute that, okay, you can see here the users. So when I created the usual password, then you can see these passwords are, you can read these passwords. But when you give the ABC and when you give the enable secret password, or sorry, this not the enable secret, the secret one. Okay, that means it is encrypted, or it is again hashed with say MD5 algorithm. Clear? This is how you make this say password secure. Again, if you want to make all these passwords secure, you can again use a service. Okay, you can go to the configuration global config mode and you can mention the service something like the service password -encryption. Service password -encryption. If you mention this, then when you take the show running -config, then you can see all the passwords are encrypted. Okay, so here Bharat's password, Omar's password, Srikanth's password, everything here is encrypted. And even this console password, VTY password, everything is encrypted. Clear? So this is how you will make these values secured. Clear? Any doubts in this? Anyone? Okay, Omar.
Okay, if we are creating different usernames and different users are configuring different things, then it will change all the router, or for a particular username it will create a space for it?
No, it will be common for everyone. For all the users, the routers things, the configuration will be common. Okay. Yes. Okay guys, then shall we wind up the class for today?
What about VTY password?
VTY password. Sorry?
VTY user password.
VTY user password, for now we have not studied the VTY access. I'll teach you the VTY access. At that time I'll tell you. Okay, so I have set the VTY password. Here you can see. At the VTY also, say I have said, sorry, the VTY also I have given the password. Okay, now for VTY also you can give the username and password also. For that also, so configure terminal, will go to line VTY 0:15 where you will mention login local. That's it. Got it? And say doing this configuration, we'll do it later. Okay. Yes. And now one more thing. Okay. Yeah, and one more thing guys, to save the configuration, I told you all the things will be there in the running configuration, and to view the running configuration you have the command called show running -config. Okay, now so it is saved as the startup config. Now it's a new router, you have not saved anything, then say the startup config. To view the startup config, the command is show startup -config. If you view it, the startup config is not present because you have not saved, you do not have any values in the startup configuration, then you are viewing this. The startup config is not present. Getting it? So if you want to save it, you will go to the privilege execution mode and you will give the command called write. You will give the command called write. So this is how you save the configuration. Now when you check show running -config, sorry, show startup -config, it will have the values. Clear? You can see it, the show startup config, you have saved the values and the host name is router and then so and so the username, everything will be there. Clear guys? Yes, this is how you save it. Anything else from anybody? Okay, oops, I suppose. Lab we will do it. So once we say you practice in the packet tracer, and once we complete, usually I'll give the lab in the sense, so let me say tell you about the lab. Okay, so lab, here we have a couple of routers and switches here in the classroom. Okay, so I'll make you do it in that routers and switches. Once the CCNA is over, once our CCNA portion is over, I'll be giving you maybe 2-3 days you can practice in the real devices, in the real router. Okay, so you can come. I'll be like for the first time I'll be telling you how to do and all, and then then maybe after 2-3 days you can go to the lab. We got a lab in the 3rd floor. Okay, if you still want to practice, you can go to the 3rd floor and you can say you have the devices. Okay, and say the lab instructor will be there, but for you guys the lab instructor his timings are from 10 to 5, I suppose, the office timings. So if you come between 10 to 5, then you can work on the real devices. Okay, but say I told you for 2-3 days I can give you, right? That will be on 8 AM itself, but after the CCNA class. Okay, once we complete all the CCNA portions, then we'll do this. Okay guys, yes, anything else? No. Okay, so now let me just take the okay, yes, and so let me pause the recording.